What is going on, IV Warriors? It's your boy Edward V, and today we are going to kind of link to my Wednesday video. In that video, I talked about what's the best schedule for weight loss, for fat loss, and how you can construct that. In this video, I want to talk about how often should you fast, because this is another question that I get a lot. How often should I do this? There are a lot of information out there that says you shouldn't fast all the time. There's some information out there that says you should fast all the time. In this video, I'm going to explain what you can expect if you're constantly fasting versus if you're not constantly fasting on a weekly basis. I'm gonna go ahead and break it down in this video. Stay tuned. Okay guys, quickly before we start, this video is brought to you by me, Fledge Fitness, and the Fledge Fitness Jump Rope. If you haven't gotten yours yet, it's only $16.50, has an aluminum handle with an ergonomic design, so it's comfortable for your hands. On top of that, it has a swivel design that maximizes the speed with this speed jump rope. The link, of course, will be down in the description below, or you can press the card on the top right-hand corner of this video. And of course, as always guys, thank you for your support. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the video. Now there is something that I want to talk about when it comes to how often you should fast. A lot of people want to know if you should do it all the time. Can your body just get used to fasting? And then if it gets used to it, does it just automatically not work as effectively? And a lot of people have a preconceived notion of this simply because of the fact that when they are doing intermittent fasting and they weighed a certain amount and they lost that weight and they're still doing the same protocol, all of a sudden they see a slowdown. And they attribute this to the protocol that they're doing. So they feel that either they need to increase their fasting window or their fasting protocol, or their body has just become used to it, so maybe they should just stop doing it. So you could go, literally, it's like a fork in the road that people decide just intuitively, I guess, what's the best decision for them. Am I just not fasting enough? Or am I just fasting so much that my body's just completely used to it? There was a study done showing in terms of health, in terms of cardiovascular health, that was a cohort study. It looked at people fasting for over 4 years. Not that they fasted for 4 years, but that they fasted on a weekly basis for 4 years. And they noticed that from this cohort study, now remember, this is a cohort study. It's not a controlled study. However, it did have groups of people who did fast versus groups of people who didn't. And they did factor in elements like bad habits, smoking, and stuff like that. So they looked at those two groups and they noticed that the group that was fasting had higher increases in heart health, much greater, and prolonged life much greater than those who didn't fast. Now, this is an important study because it's looking at long-term fasting use, because a lot of scientists and researchers who caution people with intermittent fasting, they talk about we don't really know the long-term effects of fasting. So this shows a beneficial element to long-term fasting. And at the very least, it shows that there isn't a negative aspect to long-term fasting when it comes to cardio health. And the researchers in this study believe that there are mechanisms that are triggering when you're fasting that helps prolong life, and that compounds over time. So if you did it on Monday and you did it on Tuesday, it's not like Monday is in its own bracket and it has no link to Tuesday's fasting. Although you've broken those fasting timeframes apart, you're adding to the consistency of the fast over time that's giving you the ability to have these overall health outcomes that you probably would have not seen if you didn't fast consistently for so long over time. That is a big indicator to me that just because you are fasting, it does not necessarily mean that your body is going to get used to it. Just because a lot of elements in fitness carry this caveat where your body gets used to something, doesn't necessarily mean that intermittent fasting will also have that caveat. Not everything works that way. Yes, if you are constantly at a caloric deficit, your metabolism will try to stabilize and try to create this body weight set point for you. But the way it does it is by increasing ghrelin, which forces you or makes you want to eat. It makes you hungry, so it makes you want to eat more. Reducing leptin, the hormone that tells your mind, your brain, that you're actually full. So it'll reduce that increase ghrelin, and then that ends up giving you a much difficult task at reducing calories, and then you end up eating and eating and eating more, and then just completely negating the diet protocol that you're on. So it does things to make you eat more, so then you're getting more calories, and then it also starts to pick things that make more sense for it to burn so that it's not burning too much, and that's called adaptive thermogenesis. But this is based off of your calorie intake. So whenever anyone tells you you're lowering your metabolism because you're fasting too much, maybe you want to reduce fasting so that you don't lower your metabolism. You're not lowering your metabolism because you're fasting too much. You're lowering your metabolism because your calorie intake has been at a deficit for so long. And no matter how you slice it or dice it, you're automatically going to have that effect happen. Now, one benefit to fasting, which would probably want to make you stay with the fasting protocol, is that muscle retention has been shown to be retained better when you do intermittent fasting. It's been seen even in the 16-8 model, which is not that long of fasting, but it's also been seen in alternate day fasting as well, which can be up to 36 hours of fasting. And because lean tissue or muscle is the primary driver for your metabolic rate, you want to do something that's going to help you retain muscle better. Now, understand that because something helps you retain muscle doesn't mean it helps you build muscle. You can make the argument that eating more because of protein synthesis is more optimal for building muscle. But then when you're losing weight, what's the most optimal thing for you? Probably something that's going to help you retain muscle, and intermittent fasting can do that. And the reason this happens is because of that metabolic switchover. When you're in a fasted state, your body prioritizes body fat burning as opposed to burning other elements that carry energy, such as protein, amino acids, muscle tissue, things to that nature. So with this being said, it's probably best for you to fast as many times as you can per week. But of course, adherence is important. As I mentioned in my last week's video, adherence is important. And even in this element, adherence is important. If it's just better for you to do intermittent fasting for 5 days, but not for 2 days, then go ahead and do that because it's better for you and you're still getting benefits from those 5 days. It's not like 2 days of not fasting eliminates the benefits of 5 days. It doesn't. It's just if someone was to do 7 days of intermittent fasting, those 2 days will be compounding over time, and that can help them over them just doing 5 days. But it doesn't mean that 5 days has no benefits to it at all. Same thing as doing 4 days. Same thing as doing 3 days. You can do that. You're still better off than someone who does no days of intermittent fasting. But the aspect that I'm trying to eliminate from your thought process is that there's a intermittent fasting adaptation that's going on. Metabolism slowing down does not connect to fasting. Metabolism slowing down connects to calorie intake. And also, if you're losing weight and you lost a lot of weight to begin with, and now the weight has somewhat slowed down, please understand that that is a natural process to weight loss. Even if you take away metabolic adaptation, that's simply because you now weigh less. It's now easier for your body to carry its own weight. If you weigh 300 pounds, it's harder for your body to carry your own weight. Thus, you are burning more calories because your body's working harder just to have you walk or stand up. If you're now 200 pounds, it's easier for your body to move around, to lift your arms, to walk around. So effectively, you are now burning less calories simply because you weigh less. Do not expect a linear weight loss process that will be the same speed as when you first started your weight loss journey, because that never happens. So you don't have to increase your fasting protocol just to combat that, or decrease your fasting protocol just to combat that, because trust me, it's not because of the fasting protocol that these things are happening. A lot of people will fear monger and tell you, yes, oh, you've damaged your metabolism. This is the reason why you can't lose weight like you did before. Now you have to do this, 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 and this. Or your body's become too used to the fasting protocol, so now you have to do this, 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 and this. So to answer the question of how often should you fast, it should be as often as you like. Understanding that you compound the elements, the positive elements of fasting, the more you do intermittent fasting. So if you do it 7 days, it will always be better than if you do it 6, but you can choose any amount of time that you want to choose based on your specific goals and what's easier for you to do for the rest of your life. I hope this video has helped you guys. And of course, as always, I'm gonna go ahead and put my patrons for my Patreon right up here. And as always, guys, I'll see you on Wednesday for another FAQ.